All right. Well, I imagine everyone can hear us. I don't know if anyone can see us. Roop, there it is. Are you available? Can you hear me? All right.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
That's weird.
It is
What
indeed.
happened? As soon as
No idea. As soon as I hit it, we disappeared, didn't we? But you can probably hear us. We are checking
radio.
to see if you guys can hear us.
We have faces made for radio.
We do. It's showing that we're live. Yeah. You can hear us.
Can you see us?
You can't see us, but you can definitely hear us.
Nope. There's nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here.
I'm looking at it.
Well, cool.
I gotta.
Thanks for joining us if you're here. And we're gonna work on this technical issue. I assume you can still chat to us. So do that. And we're just gonna kind of keep working this issue here. But while we do that, Roop, there it is. Interesting set of games. And I don't know. Did you watch? Did you get a chance to watch them both?
I watched both of them. Yes, absolutely.
And what did you think? Well, let's start. I mean, we'll just take them in order.
Well, let's put it this way. I knew the Eagles were going to win.
Right.
Hands down. Like
we can start there for sure. Because I agree. I think that was kind of a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have your third string quarterback in a championship game and then end up getting to your fourth string and think that you could still win and get a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I just don't think that was possible. So we're just going to keep it real and say we knew the Eagles were going to go. We bet on them before. And I love to see how many people thought that San Francisco was going to go. It was a bummer that Brock Purdy got hurt early, because it was as soon as that happened, I knew it was over. Like, you can't. Nobody's playing their fourth string quarterback in the Super Bowl. Did they win or So like I didn't see them going, just because of that.
Yeah.
Well.
Sorry about that. Reset it. Trying to get this thing to work here. But no, I agree. You kind of knew once Purdy went down that was it.
Yeah, that was pretty much game over. So I expected it.
We can see ourselves on the screen at this time, right? You can see yourself.
I can see it off to the left, but not on the screen.
Right. Like you can still only hear our voices. If you're out there watching right now, you can only hear our voices. And I apologize for that. But this is how it goes sometimes. So anyway, but yeah, so once Purdy goes down, now we know Shanahan is like a coaching genius. We know that he can do amazing things, but if you don't have time, work with your guy. I mean, what are you going to
do? I know. Put in McCaffrey at quarterback like they should have. They kept trying to get him out there and they kept stopping him. Like, what are you doing? Put the ball in your playmaker's hand. That was so frustrating. And I have no stock capital in McCaffrey. There was no money on him or anything. There's nothing.
Sure.
I just wanted to see it happen. And I'm like, do it. Wildcat it. Do something. Like, your running plays are not going to work. They're stacking the box. And I'm sorry, you have 7 people every play stacked up on the box. You're not going to win the game because it's not going to happen. So
no, and it was I agree. I think it was a mistake to try And you can argue this both ways, right? Because yes, Purdy goes down. You got to throw in your fourth string guy. And so do you. It's easy in hindsight now that they lost the game. But what if he'd come in there and played like Brock Purdy? Nobody would be saying anything. What if, I mean, do you really want to trust your chances to a non-quarterback? Because if they had done that and the conclusion had come out the same, then they'd still be blaming Shanahan, saying, why didn't you put your fourth string quarterback in there? You had a quarterback. Why didn't you play your quarterback?
Well, I'm saying, give the fourth string a chance. Sure, they did that. When it wasn't working, um, it's time to make a change. Like you only get so many drives on any given Sunday, and after one or two drives, you said, okay, well, we're not scoring and we need touchdowns, so make another change. Like it was not rocket science. It's not like, I mean, no offense to him, but he was fourth string. He's fourth string for a reason, and McCaffrey's uh, a playmaker. And you can't blame McCaffrey's one pass on a trick play that didn't work out and be like, well, we can't have him as quarterback. Like,
Right.
you got to do something else, So I feel like they could have given McCaffrey, one or two drives and then be done with it. But it was basically an open and shut case anyway.
Sure.
And Brock Purdy wasn't going to be anything special, but he wasn't going to give you a ton of mistakes either. He's cool, calm, and collected back there. Looks focused. But the injury just, I mean, elbow is pretty important when it comes to throwing a football.
But I mean, it was clearly messed up too. I mean, we can agree on that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I'm really surprised that they let him go back out there. I understand why, but I'm really surprised. I'm not going to put it on the same level as Tua's concussion. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying when your player is clearly that injured and you put him out there anyway, you're kind of playing with the guy's career.
Yeah, and being so young and like, yeah, I want to make the team. I want to get a contract, bigger, longer contracts, and show toughness. So there's a difference between toughness and further injuring yourself, and I think that's why he wasn't throwing. I mean, what was he? He was 1 for 1 for the game or something. So I mean,
Yeah.
for him. Oh no, I think he
It
missed.
was.
Oh no, because there was a fumble. So that was
I know he had
like a
23
pass.
yards. That's what I know. I know he had 23 yards, and that's not going to get it done.
No, it is not.
We want to thank everybody for showing up. We apologize for the technical difficulties that we're having. No picture, but you can hear us. I'm pretty sure we can still read your comments. So shoot those in if you have them. So, all right. So let's move on. Well, before we move on, let's give some credit to the San Francisco defense who were thrown out there, asked to do an impossible task. Look, they held Hurts to 121 yards. The Eagles' top receiver was Devontae Smith with 38 yards. A.J. Brown had 20 and change. So the defense did their job. And the part that bothers me, the part that is I'm glad I'm not a Niners fan because it would keep me up at night, is that we're never going to know. We're never going to know if Purdy could have got the job done. The defense clearly held their end of the bargain. And so if the offense had been able to produce, would we have San Francisco in the Super Bowl? Could Purdy have taken them there, especially the way the defense was playing, holding Hurts to 121 yards? This is ridiculous. And I know they went to the run game because they didn't,
That was the only part that they were successful at.
Right. But it's the not knowing. So now we'll have to find out. We have to wait till next year to see if San Francisco can do it again, which is a tall order. We don't know who's going to be in a quarterback. We don't know other changes are going to happen. They just lost their defensive coordinator to the Houston Texans,
which is a huge blow because if defense, like you said, offense
of their day.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, listen, even though Philly ran the ball on them a lot, and let's give I mean, Hurts is the man. He had 15 rushing touchdowns,
Yeah,
which is a record. That's phenomenal. And I just keep thinking back to when he got benched in Alabama and all this stuff. Like all the people that like saying he's not a quarterback, he can't get it done. All this, I'm like, the guy got it done. And the
he
defense was
did.
there, the offense was there. He's rushing it on the 1 yard line twice in a row to get it done, looking for
Yeah.
the gap. I mean, he's taking care of the ball, that's for sure. And
He, the
let's see.
Eagles offense did their job. I'm going to say the Eagles defense did their job.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean,
but San Francisco's defense definitely did the job. And unfortunately, they had the early injury, and we're never going to know how the offense could have done. Thank you again for joining us. Shoot us your comments. I'm pretty sure we can still see those. We know you guys can't see us right now. Technical difficulties that we have tried to fix and cannot. So the show must go on. So here we go. You can't see us, which is probably better, I think, not to be able to, at least, from my end. You don't want to stare at me while we're doing this. You'd rather hear the harmonious tones of my voice, which are 100%
soothing.
adulterated by my Blue Yeti microphone. So now you can create a image that is probably nothing like the real thing. But we move on. Like you said, I mean, it was pretty early on. Purdy goes down, and we know who's going to win this game. Which is, again, is unfortunate because San Francisco's defense definitely understood the assignment and took care of business. We move on to the next game, which was everything we wanted, I think.
Yeah, Bengals KC.
With the exception of some of the referee shenanigans. I'm not blaming the refs. I'm just saying we had referee shenanigans. But game-wise, comes down to the
Bengals fans are definitely blaming refs. I mean, anytime we get this late in the season and any team goes down and there's a lot of flags on the field, there's definitely
there are mostly in one team's favor. I don't have stats in front of me, but it was pretty overwhelming. You have since Kansas City essentially getting a free second chance at a conversion because whistles supposedly blew. And what's interesting about that call is, we'll get to that call. We'll get to the third replay, but that was all the way in the fourth quarter, third down replay. But that was only in the fourth quarter. So let's get back to the game. First of all, when it starts off, everybody's wondering the same thing. How's Mahomes going to play? We know he's hurt, and he goes out there and gets it done. Takes his time to limp in between plays, but during the plays, I'm sorry, that was some pretty gutsy, ballsy football that we saw from Mahomes.
Yeah, he's not, the running back or the wide receiver, the tight end with a high ankle sprain, so he doesn't have to do as much. It still hurts, but anybody.
But he's such a mobile guy.
Yeah, but he is a mobile guy. But everybody else in the season, wide receivers, tight end, running backs, anybody who had a high ankle sprain was out at least 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even more, sometimes 6 weeks, depending on how much and how well they healed. So to watch Mahomes go 1 week and just right back at it is pretty special. He's like, I'm carrying the team. That's one of those things. Yeah, it probably won't do too much damage, and you'll have 2 weeks to recover. Yeah. So shout out to that. And one thing that I did forget, since we are talking about some flags here.
Sure.
Hats off to Trent Williams and San Francisco are just devouring the guy and throwing him to the ground. That was a special play when they just whistles were blowing and nobody would stop holding face mask or whatever all up in people's grill, and
temperatures are getting heated.
Yeah, like he knew he wasn't going to the Super Bowl, and he'll take a 1 game suspension or whatever, get a fine.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna, like? He knew he wasn't going, and he definitely let somebody know about it. I mean, and Trent Williams is the best at his position in the league, and they pay him for it, and he just wasn't having it. It's like, hey, the whistle blues, would you guys stop acting like kids? Let's break this up. I loved it. Somebody else was swinging, throwing fists. I was loving that too. I was like, you all are getting fines. It made me laugh. I was like, honey, come check this out. I rewound it. I was like, gotta check this out. It's like, it sucks to see that people are, letting the emotions get the better of them. But you work so hard all season long, and just to end like that, like it hurts more just knowing that, like it's not an embarrassment, but like just rough, and that just made me laugh. I was like, Trent is a big dude. He's the biggest guy on the field, and he just ragged on people, and I was like, that was a special moment for me because I mean I enjoyed it. Like I finally saw some life in San Francisco.
And it was like you should have done it sooner.
I mean, yeah, uh, uh, yeah, maybe. I mean, but the thing is you're okay. You're not going to win without Brock Purdy, and you're probably not going to win without Trent Williams. So,
well, yeah, without Trent Williams. But I mean, like, fire people up, I guess. Take a shot. Why not? Because, I mean, like you said, you're not going to win. So you may as well try some. You got to leave it all on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to leave it all on the field.
And he did. And
he did.
Or he threw it down on the field.
Yeah. Like you said, fines pending and all that.
Yeah, I mean, they got to watch. I mean, they're probably not even done looking at videos and setting up fines and stuff. So
checking everybody that's involved in this thing.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
Checking all angles because there was a few things in there that there was no flags on. They just basically the refs were like, yeah, we'll let upstairs take care of it, and we're just gonna call one for each side, disqualify both of them, and move on. And I mean,
just be done.
I mean, yeah, San Francisco's bench was clearing. I'm like, this isn't. He didn't get somebody to get a pitch thrown at them, and like, come on, like, just let them go. You see Jalen Hurts standing off to the side, like, nope, not gonna happen. I'm just gonna stay over here. Not gonna risk the Super Bowl.
Here, go to the Super Bowl, not risk my paycheck. Like, no, that's yeah, no, that was true. But anyway, back to the Cincinnati
back to Bengals,
Kansas City games. The only thing that really surprised me in this one was the fact that Cincinnati was never able to actually get a lead. They were able to tie, but I don't think they ever actually had a lead in this one.
Right.
And it really was, to me, it was everything that we were expecting, other than maybe with the exception of not having the back and forth. Great game, great plays. Higgins climbs the ladder for the first one, then he's can't pull down the last one to give Kansas City the ball. Kansas City gets the last second field goal. I do wish we didn't have so much ref involvement and so much to talk about with the refs on this one, but Mahomes, Kelsey, it's surprising that, I mean, first of all, we end up with both number ones in the Super Bowl, which is fairly rare. Yeah, I mean, I guess how it's supposed to be. That's why they were number ones. So when you have the number ones, the reason you have the playoffs, the reason you play the game is because just because you're number one doesn't mean you can't be beaten. But the idea of being the number one is that you are supposed to go to the championship game. You're supposed to go to the Super Bowl or whatever it is. Being ranked number one, you are supposed to be the best. So you're supposed to be able to fend everybody off, and you are supposed to make it to the championship game. And that doesn't always happen, which is why we play the game. But in this case, what was supposed to happen is the two number one teams. That's what happened. The two number one teams are going to play in the Super Bowl. And so we're actually going to get the two quote unquote best teams. I have to remember that you guys can't see us. Thanks for tuning in.
I do the quotes.
Yeah, I did the air quotes. You can't see us, but you can hear us, and we're pushing through these technical difficulties like Mahomes on a Sunday. And thanks for joining us. I can see your comments, I believe, so go ahead and shoot those to us if you want. But the two number ones are going to the Super Bowl. We had one great game, and I don't know.
I feel like Kansas City finally beating, or should I say Mahomes finally beating Burrow, because Burrow is 3-0 against Mahomes, which was surprising. Yeah. So it's kind of like, okay, now Mahomes is back on top. Burrow and Cincinnati Bengals, I have a feeling we'll be right back in the championship game, or obviously back in the playoffs with no contest. I mean, the dude's just money, and the team around him is phenomenal. So,
Well,
hope
after we wrap up this Mahomes, this Chiefs Bengals game, I do want to bring up Joe Burrow here for a second. But before we do
okay.
that, fourth quarter, 3rd and 9, Chiefs run a play. They run the play, and the refs come back and they say, "No, we blew the whistle. The play never happened. We're running it again in case he converts." Which I don't know. It was that's not the drive that won the game. So really, did it matter? Do we need to talk about it this much? Other than the fact that it was kind of bullcrap? Probably not. It did take time away from the Bengals, I guess, in the long run. That's time the Bengals could have used the field position and all that because Kansas City was about to punt. So okay, but the issue being that Kansas City ran the play failed. Like they blew they let the play happen. The player got tackled. Kansas City marched off the field. They sent the punt team on. Bengals did the same thing. And then the refs decided, oh no, that play didn't count. Like normally, if you have a false start and you get that free play, I'm sorry, the offsides, and you get the free play, they let the play happen.
Right.
And I suppose it's a little different because in that case the play stands, but they let the play happen, and then they tell everybody, oh no, that one didn't count. But in this case, they let the play happen. They whistled the ball dead as if the play happened. They let the teams exchange personnel, and then they decided, no, wait. We blew the whistle.
That's because they got the buzz from New York saying, "Hey, that's not how we game plan this game."
Yeah, that's not how this one's supposed to go, guys.
Yeah, it is a entertainment industry, and they can do whatever they want with the game. So that's what
Yeah.
I've been hearing on the social medias, where
But you
they
got the
can.
controversy, right? Because I mean,
Yeah,
everybody wanted Mahomes to well, not everybody, but I mean that was the storyline. Can Mahomes finally take Burrow down, go to the Super Bowl on his bum ankle, blah blah blah. Both teams deserve to be there. But then
yeah,
you
for
have
sure.
something like this to deal with.
I mean, I don't really like it when it's left up to the refs. It happened too many times. I think the most brutal one is when the refs did it to Drew Brees, and just
Mhm.
that still bothers me to this day. Like, that is game changing.
Yeah,
And
there's a difference between what happened to Drew, which, like you said, controversial ref involvement, if you will, and then what happened with the Chargers and the Jaguars. I mean, the Chargers clearly blew that lead and
right,
blew their chance to
exactly.
move on. Whereas in the situation you're talking about, it was a controversial call, and then we have one here, which didn't affect the direct drive, but again, it affected time and field position and all that. Cincinnati definitely could have took that punt down and even kicked a field goal, which obviously would have changed the difference. That last second field goal from Kansas City would have sent it to overtime and not sent Kansas City to the Super Bowl. So
Right.
it's
And then it would
unfortunate.
still be anybody's game there. And you normally can't judge a game by one play, because both teams had 4 quarters to get the job done.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, sometimes in the fourth quarter, it starts getting a little sketchy when things are just not going one team's way, and
Mm-hmm.
calls seem to be a little questionable.
Yeah.
Um, was when catches, or were they really catches? Was he fumbling the ball a little bit, whatnot? Um, in one of the plays, it was the last drive where the guy just given all the heart he had and just tackles Mahomes out of bounds. Listen, that's the kind of heart that I love to see on a field, but that cost them another 15 yards, and you have to get it in check, where you need to play with all the heart that you have, and you have to know when to pull up. But he was clearly out of bounds, and I'm sorry, you got to be focused. And I know it was maybe a little bit of anger. You're not going to injure Mahomes in the last play of the game, and you're still going to get the 15 yards, and they're still going to kick the field
Yeah,
goal. So,
it
like
was
if you're
not
going to
good.
hit Mahomes that hard out of bounds, you need to do it in the first quarter if you're trying to hurt somebody
Right.
or get him out of the game. Don't do it in the fourth quarter on the last drive.
Yeah,
You
what
can't
was
do
the
that.
point? There was no point
Yeah,
there.
there's
And again, I mean, you can honestly throw that on top of the controversy fire, because without that penalty, you're looking like a 55-yard kick, which is obviously a much harder kick to make.
way harder. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the penalty comes at the most convenient time. So, if you are one of those conspiracy people, you can definitely throw that on there. But we move on. Again, the two number one teams are there. Any of the four teams deserve to be there in this one. I truly believe that. I think any of the four teams could have been there, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I think we're going to have a fantastic Super Bowl, which will be nice. I don't think we're going to have a lopsided Super Bowl in this one. I think we're going to have one that comes down to the fourth quarter, and I think that's going to be fun to see.
I 100% expect it to be a great time. What was surprising is Kansas City's defense actually
Yes.
looked decent, like for
Yes.
once, and finally made Burrow's team look like, when they were in
Like,
the Super Bowl
brought them
last time.
down to earth. It brought them
Yeah,
down to earth. I mean, they were playing lights out superhero football, and Kansas City said, no, 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 not in my house.
yeah, and I really enjoyed seeing that because I was afraid, Eagles have an offense, Kansas City has an offense.
Mhm.
Eagles have a defense, Kansas City, there's a question mark there. Now I'm like, okay, if they game plan correctly and you know take care of business, it'll be a really good game. If Kansas City defense doesn't show up, it's going to be a shootout. So, or what you would think, because
Yeah.
Mahomes is Mahomes, and I know the Eagles defense is
Well,
good, but
and I know that's what people wanted, and I mean, you kinda did have it. I mean, you had a tie game, you got a good game. You just didn't have that high score that I think people were hoping for, but it was good. I think that's good. I think that shows that the defenses did show up. I wanna move.
I want Super Bowls no defense, like, because they're way more exciting. Like
Well, some people
20 to
do.
23, okay, that's fun, but that's like a score a quarter. Like, it's not a big deal. I want to see.
I'm a defense wins championships guy. I'm not saying
Yeah,
I don't want a 3-6 game. I'm not saying that.
no,
But I do want defense. These are supposed to be the two number one teams, and a number one team should be well rounded. You should have an offense and a defense. You should be able to score and you should be able to stop. And I think when both teams have that, I think you get a good game. But it's a matter of preference. It's subjective. So I do hear what you're saying, and that is what the NFL wants right now. The NFL wants air it out, um, big
yeah,
bomb
it's more
passes,
exciting.
high scoring, and I get that. Should major leaguers be allowed to do steroids because they hit more home runs? Whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually kind of agree with that. So I want to move to Burrow real quick before we move on to the next subject. And the reason I want to move to Burrow is because I've made the comment a couple times. Burrow, fantastic guy. Everybody loves Burrow, recognizes a skill set. Is Burrow going to be the next Dan Marino?
No,
Yeah, well, nobody wants that. That's what everybody would have said about Dan Marino, too.
uh,
Nobody would have said Dan Marino is going to be the first Dan Marino.
well, that's true. The problem. I wish I knew more about all the players and teams around Dan Marino, but there are some
Oh,
like
he had some
it,
fantastic teams. I was a Dan
I mean,
Marino goofball. Love Dan Marino. Clayton and Duper. Clayton and Duper were the receiving tandem before. And it's kind of funny that you have Hill and the two Miami guys. Help me out. Tyreek Hill and
Waddle.
Waddle. It's kind of funny that you have Hill and Waddle there now because that was Clayton and Duper. That
Okay.
was just the kind of duo you had. It was Moss and Chris Carter. It was, I don't know. I mean, you can come up with other duos and stuff, but I mean, that's what you had there. You had good defenses. You had decent defenses. You had Dan Marino in a lot of playoff games, pulling, you know, pulling Tony Romo's, pulling, one and dones, making it to the championship game and not making the Super Bowl, losing by 3, losing by, I mean, the opportunities were there. And for whatever reason, and everybody I don't know if it's out of respect or for the numbers, but yeah, nobody throws a lot of blame at Dan Marino.
No, you can't. Especially when you see him and he's out there selling out, and Joe Burrow doing the same thing, doing whatever he
Yeah,
can for his team.
and
They
that's what I'm
have the
saying. So
playmakers.
that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry because I keep interrupting, but that is kind of where I'm getting at, right? Dan Marino, Joe Burrow, great players, respected for their talent, respected for everything they did, everything they do on the field. Nobody thought Marino was going to be Marino. Why? Why is everybody so sure that Joe Burrow isn't going to end up the same way?
There is a chance. I mean, because how many times is Joe Burrow for sure getting past the Josh Allens and the Patrick Mahomes, like the big name quarterbacks with the good teams around him. You have to understand, Joe Burrow is going through a gauntlet of teams that are just phenomenal with
But so did Dan Marino.
generational talent at QB that are going to be known forever. Um, I
Look,
just
I'm
feel
not
like,
wishing it on the guy. I don't
oh
want to
no,
be right. I'm just the fear is that you're going to have a talent like Joe Burrow end up like Dan Marino and never, he had his one shot, plenty of opportunities to get back, plenty of playoff appearances, and just never been able to pull it down.
I think the Bengals have to do it in the next year or two because
That's a small window.
it's a very small window. But you have to understand with the players that they have, they can't pay everybody top
Mhm.
dollar. You have to get the whole group together and say, hey, you know, we
Well,
win the Super Bowl, everybody
now
gets
it's
a
a
huge bonus.
now it's a New England Patriots situation where Burrow's
Right.
taking a pay cut to keep the talent around, the other
Right.
talent around. But
And
in order to do that, you're going to have to win a Super Bowl. The Patriots could do that because they had won rings. The Patriots could do that because they kept making it back. Even when they lost, they at least still made it back. They had a
right.
shot. Then they'd win, they'd win a Super Bowl. Well, of course, it's easier to keep the team together when you can win a Super Bowl. But if you're not actually winning, then you're going to get guys be like, hey, look, I love it here. This is great. I love that we keep getting back to the playoffs, but I need to go try something different because this isn't working.
True. I mean, maybe it's like, hey, I'll take a pay cut if we win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'll give you $1 million, I'll give you $1 million, whatever.
That's a much easier sell.
Yeah. But pay cut up front to end up at the same way. Nah. But I think I could see I could see the Bengals going back again. I could see that.
No, I definitely see the Bengals going back. I mean, look, let's talk about the team standing their way. Of course, it's going to be Buffalo. They're most likely going to be there as long as Josh Allen's at the helm. I think Miami could come up. The problem with Miami, we'll get to Miami in a second. Well, no, let's just do it now. The problem with Miami is that the reason Miami is so successful is because of Tua. Well, Tua clearly has a significant injury. And if you know anything about concussions, once you get one, it's much easier to get another one. And the worse they are, the easier it is to get worse ones. And that's what we're seeing Tua go through right now. He's still injured. He still has not passed a concussion protocol since the last one.
Which
it's
is
significant.
a while ago.
Yes, this is weeks ago.
So
weeks.
Yeah, and
not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks. I mean, we're talking like almost 2 months now.
So are we getting some protection for Tua and say, hey, Tua, if you count to 3 and the ball's not out of your hand, you're getting benched?
Well, frankly, Tua shouldn't play football anymore.
Yeah.
If it's me and I'm Tua, and this is easy for me to say because I'm not in the situation facing a great team and millions and millions and millions of dollars, millions he already has, but
yeah,
many more millions to earn. So, again, it's easy for me to say, but if I'm Tua, I don't play football again because if you keep playing football, some of these other guys, these old timers, they didn't have the same protection that battled through these concussions that can barely talk and can't remember their own name from hour to hour, should go talk to Tua and be like, look, my life is absolutely horrible. You should stop playing.
Yeah,
and
it's quality of life at this point.
Yeah, it really is. But anyway, teams to battle the Bengals right now, of course, I want the Steelers to get it together and be in that way, but they're not there yet. So my point being, the Ravens are kind of falling apart because they don't know what they're going to do with Jackson. Miami is not in a situation right now without Tua. So you got, I don't know, the Bills and the Bengals. If Jacksonville, I don't know if Jacksonville can keep contending. They've got an offense, they can put a defense. If they get some defensive players and stuff together, if they can plus up the O line, that's what every team ever has to do is plus up the O line, I guess. But
Jacksonville will be getting help on the O line and defense. That's what they're targeting in the draft.
the problem is that they finish too high. That's the problem with making it to the playoffs and then losing.
Yeah, that's true.
You made it so high, you ruin your draft picks. Other than the ones that you might have banked through trades from previous seasons and stuff, and those are out there.
Problem is you get the flashy players in the top 10, 15, the look at me guys. And then in the later of the round, you have the guys
Tom Brady
that are really
and
good.
Brock Purdy.
And Purdy and people with heart and people with drive. And as GMs and everybody a part of the drafting process, you have to understand that you got to find those diamonds in the rough. It's not about, oh, I have these many stats. Yeah, well, when the game's on the line, are you putting it all out there? Are you the guy that's tackling Mahomes out of bounds because you're giving it everything you can and you can't shut off the Jets?
Yeah.
You want that type of heart with a lot of focus. And you know what? If they could find something like that to just help their team just a little bit, I think Jacksonville will 100% be back in the playoffs, and it's not. I think they're going to be better next year, and
it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities. Once again, technical difficulties tonight. You can't see us, but you can definitely hear us. It's a podcast. It's a visual podcast. That's what we're running. You can turn on the screen, but you can still close your eyes. So you can still watch TV. You don't have to watch us. You can watch TV with the volume down. Listen to our technically
soothing
voices behind the microphones. But okay, so 2 coaching hires. We get DeMarco Ryan, San Francisco's defensive coordinator, which is a big thing for San Francisco. Another loss. So they lost all their quarterbacks. They've lost their defensive coordinator, which was easily the best part of their team was their defense. Now they lost the guy making it all happen. He goes to Houston, and Sean Payton, back in the NFL, goes to Denver. Can he make Russell Wilson look like Drew Brees? Or is it just too far gone at this point? Details to come next year. I like the DeMarco Ryan hire in Houston because I think the guy's, first of all, he played in Houston. He's rookie of the year for them back in 2006. Went to 2 Pro Bowls for him. Beats football, gets into coaching, shows what he can do over there at San Francisco. Amazing defense in San Francisco. A little leaky on the pass game, but great defense in San Francisco. And now he's going to get his head coaching shot in Houston. He's pretty much got a team to build. He's got himself a nice running back. He's got a quarterback with heart that he can build around a little bit, or he can just go out and get a new one with the now 2nd pick in the NFL draft.
I mean, you could do a QB. I mean, but I don't know. Is Davis Mills really the guy? I mean, he had his chance.
No, I hear you. I'm not saying it's above the realm of possibility. I'm not sure that Chicago. Well, here's not to get on too far of a tangent, but I don't know if Chicago. A lot of people think Chicago should trade that pick, get some draft capital, but I've always felt like the philosophy of the draft was to take the best player available. And the fact that if they do believe that they're fine with Fields, then you can still take the best player available that's not a quarterback. You can still plus up your line on the offense or defensive side of the ball without losing that draft pick. Now, they do have a lot of picks from previous drafts, but I don't know. I don't know if they necessarily need to trade away the number 1 pick rather than just grab a different set of talent.
I mean, the problem here is the number 1 pick, you have all that drama around it. But if you sweep away all the drama around it, just say, hey, What's the best player in the draft? We need to go get that. Obviously, it's not a quarterback. Quarterback is not going number one, no matter who's sitting there. Like it just doesn't.
It's
You
probably
could,
true.
but it's just in this draft. I don't think they're like number one worthy. I think it could, but it's not in years past. Like, oh my God, we have this guy and this guy and this guy. It's not a stacked class either.
Yeah.
So we have other players that should be there, but I want to see them take that number one pick and find the best player that they really need on their team, whether it's offensive, defense, whatever hole they need. But there's nothing wrong with Justin Fields. I think he's just going to get better. He's what did we say a couple weeks ago? He's the sixth rusher in the league or something crazy like that.
Fields,
So
yeah.
so like you have the quarterback. He's just getting better. He's getting comfortable. Get him some playmakers with a later round pick. A little wide receiver action or something. Just sprinkle talent around him and say, okay, well, you can rush. Can you pass? We got your protection. And we got a decent defense. You could still win some games. So
yeah.
you got the first pick. You can only go up from here. And if he puts the team on his back and they get, I don't know, he's a pretty good rusher, so I don't know how much offensive line help they need. Maybe some defense, but I mean, maybe do we really take wide receivers number one? I mean, and it's normally like a defensive lineman or something,
No, I don't think we're gonna. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a lineman.
It's definitely gonna be a defensive guy. So like right now, like if you're a defensive lineman, you're like, yeah, let me go talk. I'm gonna go talk to Chicago.
Right, exactly. And then we got Sean Payton hired in Denver. They got Russell Wilson. Like, is Russell the problem or is it the coach? Sean Payton, fantastic QB guy. We'll see if Russ can come back.
Russ is gonna cook.
Right,
I said it last.
He's got his apron on.
I said it before this season, and I meant it, and it totally went to shit. So I'm gonna double down and say Russ is gonna cook. He has the playmakers around him. It's questionable with tight ends, but just use your playmakers.
Okay, get your charcoal and your lighter fluid. It's time for Russ to cook. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe get a running back or something.
So here we go. This weekend, starting on Thursday, we got the new Pro Bowl format, and you can tell it's new because it's starting on Thursday. But wait till you hear. I don't know. Everybody knows the Pro Bowl has been revamped. We know about skills and flag football game, and everybody's really looking forward to the two Manning brothers who play off each other so well. But I don't know if anybody really understands what's about to happen. It should be fun. Here we go. So on Thursday, you're gonna have a dodgeball competition. NFC versus AFC. Then you're gonna have NFC offensive players versus their defensive players, and same for the AFC. So you can get 3 dodgeball games on Thursday. Then you are going to get a 3-tiered competition. I believe it's 3 players or 4 players. No, it's 16 players total. 16 players total. I want to say 8 from AFC, 8 from NFC, divided up into 2 teams. So it's 4 total teams. Anyway, each game, someone's going to get eliminated from each team. And what they're going to do is the first game, they're going to play Splash Catch. What is Splash Catch? You've all played it at party games when you were a kid. Water balloons. Throw the water balloon to your partner, take a step back, throw it again, take a step back, so on and so forth. Whoever makes it the furthest. That's game number 1. Then they're going to do a punt catch off the old machine there. Machine's going to punt the ball up in there, and you got to catch it. Some kind of skill thing involved there.
Lots of skills over the weekend. That's good.
Then you're going to get the coaches, the opposing coaches, which I guess this is the Manning brothers. I think this is the Manning brothers. They're going to sit underneath a bucket, and the remaining, I guess, 2 guys per team there are going to throw a ball at a target. If they hit the target, there's a bucket sitting above the coaches. It'll dump onto the coaches. Now, the fun part here is I haven't seen anything that says what's in this bucket. So it could be water, it could be slime, it could be
Slime.
Gatorade. I don't know.
Nickelodeon slime. Let's
Yeah.
go.
I mean, there could be anything in this bucket. And then the team that accumulates the most points through the series of these 3 competitions will win. These 4 guys. Then you're going to get a longest drive competition, golf, 4 players, 3 swings, 4 players per conference. So you get 4 NFC guys, 4 AFC guys. They'll each take
fun.
3 swings. Longest drive wins. Easy peasy.
What about the best slice? Because I could win.
Josh Allen will not be there because he's actually playing in a pro-am, which I think sends a bad message. The NFL spent all this time to revamp the Pro Bowls. Players wouldn't get hurt, so it would be fun. And Josh Allen says, nah, I'm out. Send Tyler Huntley instead. we can get into that in a minute. Then you're going to get a pass accuracy competition. 2 quarterbacks, 1 non-quarterback per conference. Be a little accuracy target competition there. And then you're going to get 2 players from each conference. This is interesting. 2 players from each conference are going to do a catch. It's a catching competition. What they're going to do is
like a dunking competition, but for catching.
Yes. And this is already pre-recorded. So during the week, they've gone around to different spots in Vegas and tried to rig up trick catches. And they film it, and they're going to show these catches. I think each one gets 4, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to show the 4 catches from the 2 players. So I don't know, let's assume it's Jefferson and Hill. So Jefferson and Hill are wandering all over Vegas trying to set up these trick catches. They'll show the first one, Jefferson versus Hill, and then there'll be a voting process. I believe it's a fan voting process to see who had the best catch. And then they'll show the second one, the third one, the fourth one, whoever gets, wins the most out of these 4 catches will win the points for their side. So you got dodgeball, you got grade school party games, you got look, I'm rich, so I golf. You got dump the bucket on the coach, another party game, birthday party game. And then you get the catch version of the dunk competition. This is just on Thursday. This is all happening on Thursday. Then we get to go to Sunday. Now, Sunday, you've got your flag football competition. We all know that's happening. But we also have another set of party games. The first one's going to be the Gridiron Gauntlet. So 6 players from each conference. They're going to do a 40-yard dash. But we could have designed this. The Trenches, I think they either stole this from us or they consulted with some of our other team members, something. Maybe Elite Fantasy Games designed this. I don't know. This is complete Trenches built Pro Bowl. They're going to do a 40-yard dash. There's going to be breakaway walls in their way. There's going to be a climbing wall. There's going to be over and under table obstacles. And then they are going to run with a sled with a legendary NFL coach riding the sled to finish out the dash. I believe each thing is a 40-yard dash, and all 6 players will complete the course. So one player will go 40 yards where he has to, at some point during those 40 yards, he'll have to break through a wall. Then he'll do another 40 yards where he has to climb a wall, another 40 yards where he has to go over under the obstacles, and then another 40 yards sledding this legendary head coach.
And another 40 yards blown ACL.
Yeah, something like that. Just gonna have to do it with after getting hit in the face with a pie. Next, move the chains. 4 teams, 2 for each conference. So 2 AFC teams, 2 NFC teams. They're gonna pull a weighted wall for 10 yards. I'm not quite sure what a weighted wall is, but I know they have to pull it for 10 yards. Then it'll get timed. And then there's kick-tack-toe, where a kicker, a punter, and a long snapper will each take turns kicking the ball into, I guess, designated squares, trying to complete tic-tac-toe. And then, of course, you got your flag football game.
That's a lot of stuff. That might be actually pretty interesting.
There's a lot of things going on. there should be, plenty of mic'd up players and interviews and shenaniganry going on. The interesting thing is all those first things from Thursday, the dodgeball and the splash catch and all this stuff, are actually not done in front of the audience. So if you go down to Vegas for the Pro Bowl experience, don't worry about being there on Thursday unless you're just trying to get an autograph, because you can't actually go watch any of this stuff. You're going to have to watch it on TV like everyone else. You can go see the Sunday stuff, but the party games you do not get to go see. You have to watch those on TV like everyone else. It's an interesting concept. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I have my Thursday ready to go.
Yeah, it's definitely going to lessen the chance for injuries. It's weird they're doing it on Thursday, I guess. But
yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I guess I get like the catches and stuff. You gotta, go out and try to find some place. And
welcome to the visual podcast, everyone. Technical difficulties on the visual, but we're still pushing through it. Feel free to leave comments. We're having fun. I'm having a good time. It's just like a podcast that you get to watch. I don't know. But yeah, the Pro Bowl, cheers to the NFL for listening to the players and the fans for that matter, and not doing some BS game, trying to revamp it. We'll see how the party games go down. I feel like they should be able to drink during this.
I 100% think that they should be drinking, eating ribs and a handful of fries. I mean, whatever they want to do.
And they should also get their draft positions decided for their fantasy football draft at the end of this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is definitely like draft position games going on right here. This would be so much more fun if they were drunk.
Yeah. And maybe 40-yard dash thrown up would be great too.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
To take me back, but
lose points for if you yak.
Yeah. Like a rib eating contest, 40
followed
ribs,
by the 40-yard dash.
Followed by the 40-yard dash. Yeah.
Chug a beer at each one. At each
so chug a beer, yeah, so American. Just totally wreck the world. Like, yeah, we're just gonna waste this food. But just have some fun with it. And I like how the NFL is doing that, where they're gonna change it up and make it safer, make it more fun. And I mean, obviously more people will be there playing.
I wonder if they'll change the games every year just to switch it up. Kind of like we do. They should have consulted us. They should have consulted us at the trenches. We definitely, because already we've improved these games. They should be able to drink and they should have to eat before competing. That's already a drastic improvement. I don't know. Maybe it'll catch up. Maybe we'll get a call next year.
Yeah.
I'll be ready.
Maybe a toilet paper throw, something, practice your TP skills.
You know what? They should have to do the Dr. Pepper challenge.
Yeah, I agree.
But they should have to do it from a much longer distance and blindfolded or something. And
start out at 20 yards.
The footballs are covered in slime.
Yeah.
And for every one they miss, some little kid gets to shack them in the shins with a stick or something.
For every one they miss, they have to eat a foot-long hot dog, and they have a week to finish them all.
Yes. Or chug a beer or take a shot. Every time they miss one, they got to take a shot.
Yeah, at the moment, and they're required to be on the field for 3 hours.
Take the shot. I think we could jazz up. We could do this. These they're college kids that do this Dr. Pepper challenge. We could definitely throw in a shot thing. Why are we doing a Dr. Pepper throw the football into the bucket? They should be playing beer pong. Let's get real.
Yeah, I mean,
let's give them something they do. Let's play into their skill set. Let's let them play beer pong against each other. Winner gets the $10,000 check, whatever it is. And you can put Dr. Pepper in the cups. We won't tell them that there's Fireball in there too.
Yeah, I feel like they should be playing the Dr. Pepper one. They should be playing the beer pong the entire game, not just at halftime. And so every quarter they're playing a new game, and they get 5 of them, and who best out of 5 or whatever during the game.
Yeah, let's jazz these things up. Aurora, we are not in the dark tonight. We can't see each other. Welcome to our visual podcast. We're having technical difficulties on the visual tonight for whatever reason. Thanks.
We can't even put your comment up there. We tried. Just nothing.
You can't
shows
put it
on
up.
The screen.
Okay. Well, no one asked if Aurora asked if we were playing in the dark. Thanks for showing up though and checking out our visual podcast. tonight. We want to thank Melon for the technical difficulties. We've been riding Melon all year, and I've tried to sing their praises, and I do like them. But honestly, the technical difficulties, I'm sorry. This probably isn't professional, but I'm not going to be here next time anyway. I'm done with Melon.
How about listen? I want to listen, Melon. It's not you, it's me.
No, it's you. It's you 100%. You have
Yeah.
BO. You're not taking showers anymore. You've completely, you don't take me out. You're always staring in your phone. You don't listen to me. You don't bring me flowers anymore. Melon, we're done.
We're
done.
I saw a TikTok since we're on Melon talking about things. I saw a TikTok about it's not you, it's me, and he's like, you know what? You're right. It is you. You just didn't do this, and like just stepping on everything she was saying. It was so funny because they always give that speech. It's not you, it's me, to get the cheap way out. And he's like, no, I'm much better off without you. You're right. Yeah, this is great.
100%. You know what? You make a lot of sense right now. 100%.
Yeah, this is so much easier now. And
I'm totally
if
on
I
board with
find that, I'm going to tag you in it. If I ever see it again, I would have to go through the, I have to go like the 50 things I tag my wife in.
That's the thing. Like, I would like Melon to do that, because when I write them this email after we're done with this broadcast, and I tell them I'm done with this, because it's been happening all day. This is not the first recording I've tried to do today, and this is exactly what's happening in all of them.
Maybe they're having just a glitch today. I mean, everything's a glitch. Maybe we're getting attacked. Something security's down.
If this was like the first time this has happened, but it's not. I mean, you think about the yards after the trenches. How many times we had issues with it? How many times? I mean, we've had plenty of issues, and I'm all for nobody's perfect, and technical issues happen, and that's why I've stuck around this long. But this is a bit much. Although I will say, this has kind of been a lot of fun. I don't know. It's probably, the thing is, it's not fun for the audience, and that's who we're here for. But doing a visual podcast, I think I'm going to trademark that visual podcast.
Visual podcast.
So thanks for that, Melon. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be rich because I'm gonna trademark visual podcast. But anyway, thanks for those who have joined, and thanks for the putting some comments up. Thank you, Aurora, our loyalist of listeners.
Yes, I have a big question for you, though.
That's not where I thought you were going, but go ahead.
Well, I don't know where you think I was going, but I'm game for whatever we're talking about. But I mean, biggest question of the night: who do you have? Who do you got?
I guess we kind of got to ask that question.
I mean, right? Like,
that's a tough question. I'm not going to say, like, I was just so happy that we had. I would have been happy with Kansas City or Cincinnati, but I'm just so happy that we have. The more I've thought about it, 2 number 1 teams in there, the 2 teams that should be there. Mahomes is going to get a chance to rest up that ankle, and without rest, he was phenomenal. I can't imagine what he's going to do with rest. Who do I got?
I just want.
Offense win games, defense win championships. But like you said, Kansas City's defense showed up, and Mahomes and Kelsey are so good that they can beat your outstanding defense. Wow. Go ahead.
I want to say sorry to Chris. I did watch one of the recordings that you guys had recently, and he said it's going to be San Francisco and Bengals. Sorry, Chris, that did not happen. So did you lose money on that? I don't know, but
which Chris?
Chris and Eric. Yes. Patriot Sports Radio.
Well, we ran a contest at that effing sports show. Go check it out. Super fantastic. Next show powered by Armchair Athletics. That EFIN sports show. And we did a competition. We put 3 top bettors, sports handicappers, if you will, against each other. Lay Boys Bets, the Gutsy Greek, and the boys over at Patriot Sports Radio were in on it. We gave them $1,000 to spend. We gave them 5. We gave them the 5 bets. And they had to pick. They had to pick who was going to win each game. They had to pick the combined score for one of the games. Then they got to pick a quarterback and a skill position person and figure out which window we provided them of yardage that they were going to fall in. And they could double, triple, or quadruple their money based on that anyway. And that is what it came down to, was all the skill position players. I don't think anybody hit on a skill position player because everybody underperformed. But what it came down to was who was going to win. And Patriot Sports Radio, everybody went Philly. And you're right. Chris did say San Francisco, but he acknowledged that Eric is smarter than him. And it's on the video. Go check it out. That effing sports show. It's on the Armchair Athletics, also on that effing sports show YouTube channel at that effing show, EFIN show, on YouTube and Twitter. You can find it there. But Chris did say San Francisco, but went ahead and went with Chris's Philly. But they both agreed that Cincinnati was going to win that game, and they did not win. The Gutsy Greek won because he had both those right. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I switched. You'll remember that I switched live on this broadcast. I said that originally I thought Kansas City was going to win, but after watching the game, I thought Cincinnati was going to win. So I also, all guys named Chris, screwed that one up.
Yeah, I was originally Eagles Kansas City, and I was like, if Mahomes is good enough to play, Kansas City's going to win. But it was looking real sketchy because I don't, somewhat mobile quarterback with a bad ankle. It's not looking good.
If it's somewhat another quarterback, yeah. But this is Mahomes.
So.
And that guy's a superhero. He definitely plays on a whole nother level. It's nice to see.
But I am not going first. I'm going to let you pick
I hear you.
Or KC. I'm going to let the host that worked hard all season long on multiple
I know Kansas
platforms.
City is going to win this game. I know Kansas City is going to win this game, but I'm picking the Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles. I'm not going to do the whole fly Eagles fly thing. Well, the thing is, like I said, I'm appreciative that the two number one teams are there. And the Eagles were the number one team overall. Mahomes is the number one player overall, but the Eagles had the best record. They went 10 games undefeated, and we all knew that wasn't going to last. But I don't know. I feel like the Eagles have a better all-around team. So when we look at, obviously, Kansas City has a better quarterback. No offense, Jalen Hurts. It's just because Mahomes is a completely different type of quarterback that no one's ever seen in the NFL.
That's true.
We've all seen it in the backyard, but we've never seen it in the NFL and actually work. So Mahomes is the better quarterback, and Kelsey is a better tight end. But other than that, Philly has the better receivers. I think Philly has a slightly better line, offensive line, because Kansas City's line definitely takes care of Mahomes back there. But I think Philly has the better defense. Running backs, I think if you count McKinnon and Pacheco as one person, then you could say Kansas City has better running backs. But if you take them all in individuals, then I give it to Philly. I just think Philly's a slightly better team. I think Philly should win the Super Bowl. But it's Mahomes. So, again, I know Kansas City's probably going to win the Super Bowl, but I am picking Philly because I truly believe that Philly should win the Super Bowl.
Okay, Philly. When I was looking at both teams, and both games this past weekend, I was really rooting for like McCaffrey to do well and Burrow to really, step up the game and carry the team. And I find myself just cheering for all these underdogs or people who haven't won before, stuff like that.
Sure.
But then while I was watching Cincinnati and KC, I found myself cheering for Mahomes to drive down the field, kick the winning field goal, and go back to the Super Bowl. Yeah,
he's hurt. He's a hurt guy.
Yeah. And so sometimes I say one thing on a show, and it comes down to the Sunday game, and I'm like, I'm actually leaning this way, like I could feel it in my gut, and because I know Mahomes will be back, of course. I mean, you can't lose a talent like Tyreek Hill and then make it to the Super Bowl. It didn't make any sense to me.
Sure.
So that's Mahomes at his best, and he's going to be there for the remainder of his time.
Career, probably, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Until he goes and joins the Jets or
don't even start. Like, listen,
plays
if Kansas City gives up on him
or something like that. Well, I'm talking late in his career. When his career's done,
Mahomes is gonna.
Well, look, they all do it. Montana left,
no.
Favre left, Aaron Rodgers is going to leave.
I see Mahomes winning a Super Bowl and leaving at a certain time in the next after a decade or two.
like, yeah, after he's been playing for a long time, yeah, I can definitely see him doing a John Elway,
Yeah,
win the
or
Super Bowl,
Peyton Manning.
make it back again, and be done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Peyton Manning,
Um,
exactly. Drew Brees. Well,
so
Drew Brees didn't quit after a win, but
yeah, well,
anyway.
I'm going to say that Jalen Hurts is going to get his Super Bowl, and uh, just because I know Mahomes will be back, I'm not sure about Jalen Hurts.
Right.
I need them to maintain this elite powerhouse on both sides of the ball,
No,
and
I
that's
agree.
really
Like
hard to do.
when you ask the question, which of these 4 playoff teams has the best chance to not be here next year, I think the answer is Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold it all together. So I'm going to say Eagles, and I want an amazing game. I don't want to blow out. I don't want a 7-10. I want it. I want 31-34
No, I wanted.
Eagles,
Look, I
something
want some
like that.
defensive stands. I want some defense. Look,
Yeah.
because when you factor in that score, there's nothing to say that 1 or 2 of those touchdowns can't be defenses, can't be pick sixes,
Right. Yeah.
can't be
Exactly.
fumble recoveries for a touchdown, can't be blocked punts front back.
Yeah, I want every way possible. I want a safety
Yes,
in the fourth quarter. Like, oh no, they're gonna get the ball. Like I want something amazing to happen where I want to see catches. Like, did he really get his feet down? And they have those 40 cameras looking at his toe, touching a blade of grass. That's what I want to see.
Cameras that can see sand on Saturn
Yeah.
inside an NFL stadium.
Why is it on
We can
Super
see
Bowl Sunday we can
molecules on a
see
blade
all
of
that?
grass. Yes,
Yeah,
all
we
of a
can see that,
sudden.
but other games, I'm like, why are there 40,000 pixels there and it's
Pixels, I
blurry
can't-
as shit? I
Can't
can't
tell.
stand it.
Did the gravel kick up? I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to see those little
Little
rubber
pieces.
balls pieces kicking up and into people's eyes. It's so
But I want to
dangerous.
see him from the Goodyear blimp, damn it.
Yeah,
That's
so
why it's there.
I'm so excited to see the clearest picture all season in a couple weeks. That's going to be exciting. I'm
And
actually
of
thinking I'm buying a
course-
new TV because of it.
I actually did buy one, not because of that. Someone sent one.
I did buy one like two years ago or something. I
Yeah.
said it was Pro Bowl weekend.
You
I
get
said
all the sales. Like,
yeah,
phenomenal sales.
like it's got to be the Black Friday of TVs.
It is.
right before the Super Bowl because you want the biggest TV with the best picture, and I feel like
I want a 65-inch screen in my bathroom.
yeah,
So
and
I
down
can
the
go to
hallway so you
bathroom
don't
and
miss
not
anything.
Miss a commercial. I don't want to miss a commercial.
Yeah, you pause the game and you be a little bit behind, but you can fast forward the game. But
when are you supposed to pee?
you do it during the game
Because
or
you don't want to miss the commercials. That's actually a great poll. I'm gonna run that poll in a little bit. When do you go pee, during the game or during the commercials?
here's the thing: you can go pee anytime you want. Have all of your friends over at the house. Have everybody shut off their social media, shut off the phones, get off them because you get the updates and injuries and touchdowns.
That is a good point. You can always
turn
just
all
take
that
your
off.
phone. If you have
turn
Hulu, you can take
Yeah.
Hulu to the bathroom with you and still get your
you
commercial.
could do that
Good
too.
point.
Hulu
point.
sponsor. So
Yeah.
you could do any of the above, but like it'll probably be just the wife and I at the house. I haven't decided if I'm going to have a gathering or not. I'm just going to
Yeah.
pause the game, shut off my phone, not talk to anybody, and just enjoy the game. I kind of don't want to be buried in my phone during the biggest game of the year. So I'll probably do that if we end up being a little behind or it's a really boring drive. I'll do it in between plays, that little 20-second fast forward to catch up a little bit because I don't really need to hear commentators about what they thought about the last play or a replay. So I'll do that. But most part, I want to watch the game. And then, of course, it's weird because you flip-flop. You say, okay, commercials are about to start. Don't go anywhere, and then as soon as the commercial is done, you go pee real quick because they're going to chit-chat for about 60 seconds. So that's your window. Right after the commercial, before the first play starts, that's when you pee. That's
if you get a play under review.
Yeah.
If you have a play under review, that's a good time. You get a challenge flag. That's a fantastic. Then you go take a shit.
Well, you still got it because then they go to commercials sometimes too. So
that's a good point. That's a good point. Not usually for a challenge though.
No,
because you're right, because you can't go like during a timeout. Because there's a timeout, they're definitely going to a commercial.
I feel like maybe we'll talk about this next week because I'm sure we'll talk about the Pro Bowl and stuff. But is Super Bowl Sunday the most accepted day to take a shit with the door open? I'm going to bring this up next week.
Hashtag,
so we can
Write
Shit
that down.
door open day. Just out of curiosity, we'll bring it up. Maybe we'll run a poll. Maybe we'll have some videos next week so we can get some laughter in there. But that's going to be my. We'll see for next week.
And there you go. And that's where we're
yeah.
going to end it, everybody. We'll give you something to contemplate on, because the thing is if you just heard that, it's now running through your head. First you laughed and you're like, well, wait a minute.
Maybe it's
it
true.
is. Yeah. And you're going to be thinking on it. Thanks for joining in. If you joined us during the virtual podcast, virtual visual podcast, for everybody who did, if you listen to this later, yeah, it was fun. I mean, if you listen to this later and it's on a podcast, you are seeing everything that everyone else saw. So, you're in the group now. Yeah. You're in the,
I'm putting this on the resume. Podcaster.
Yeah. Visual
podcaster hashtag.
Visual podcaster is going to be a new thing. Resume is exactly where you should go. Thanks for joining us on tonight's show. Go check That Effin' Sports Show at That Effin' Show on Twitter and YouTube. You'll find it on that same handle. Go back and rewatch The Trenches at Armchair Athletics. Join us right here every Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern, 4 yards after the catch. Everybody be safe. Enjoy the Pro Bowl shenanigans. Can't wait to talk about it next week. Thanks for yakking football, everybody. Roop, you take care of yourself, bud.
Take care now.
All right. Take care, everyone. Yak football. Peace out.
Yak.
Ah.